Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So today we got something really cool. This is the SwellPro splash drone, and this is the auto version. This is the version that is the full package, and it's got a waterproof gimbal that you put your GoPro in. I went ahead and bought a GoPro 4 on special, and I want to be able to have FPV with the GoPro on the drone, plus this one does automated flying too. This is going to be a multi-part review. Since this is such a big guy, there's so much going on here. We're going to do in this one's going to be an unbox, inspection, and setup. Then I'm also going to do a flight test, doing some waterproof flight, maybe some rain testing and stuff. I may include that in that full-on flight test. But then also I'm going to have more videos of this thing in its full-fledged waterproof form, doing some coastline. I live on the island of Maui in Hawaii, so it's really easy access to water in the ocean. This thing is fully waterproof. Some fishing videos as well, where I'm going to be taking out some heavy bait and slide bait lines out into the water and dropping it off. This also has a fisherman combo that has a remote drop mechanism too, so you can remotely drop your fishing bait, and it holds a lot of weight to be able to do that. So apparently this is the one to get if you need a large format waterproof drone that can fly and land in salt water, possibly tumble in the waves, and you still want waterproof, it to be fully waterproof. And this one also comes with a waterproof gimbal for the GoPro. So not only is the drone waterproof, but the actual gimbal that hangs below it that incorporates the GoPro style cam, that whole gimbal is actually waterproof. So you can land in the water, you can tilt your camera remotely from your controller while viewing FPV, and you can look underwater and have that pitch ability and roll ability. This one also has the remote where you can adjust both axes of pitch and a roll. It's only a 2-axis gimbal, but it is waterproof. All you need to do is apparently spray this thing off with fresh water when you're done, and you're good to go for the next session. So anyway, let's go ahead, without further ado, go ahead and start unboxing this. Don't forget, I will have the link for this guy down in the description, where you can check this out, check the pricing on this. This one's a full-fledged auto, so it's not very cheap, but for what you get and how waterproof this thing is and how much power this thing has, I think it's a pretty good deal. I've never seen one like this before. I think these guys are the first, SwellPro's the first ones to make this precision and quality of a large format waterproof drone. So you're definitely getting what you paid for. If you missed the previous review I did on SwellPro, they now have a racing quad. I'll also have that link down in the description, and also the video of me reviewing that one as well. But they now make it's not waterproof, but it is a very durable, ready to fly out of the box racing quadcopter. I was very impressed with that one. I'll also have that link down in the description. So these guys are all about quality and durability, and really seemingly doing what they say. The drone's doing what they say it'll do. So no doubt I'll be testing the waterproofness of this one in the reviews to come. So let's go ahead, without further ado, start unboxing this. So it comes in this really nice aluminum package. Now I believe all of the versions you buy do come in this aluminum box. This is it. So it's a quality aluminum case, very durable. Now this is kind of a large case because it is a large quad over a 350 size, so it's larger than something like the Phantom series. It seems to be maybe around like the 400 to 500 millimeter size. So anyway, here's the package. Got SwellPro logo on the top. It's got this nice handle. It's a padded handle. You can see how it's rubber, so your hand's not going to get too sore. It looks pretty good quality. And then opening the box up here, so you have a nice foam padding in from the top and the bottom. First thing you're greeted with is like the manual and some stickers and stuff. And then we get to the drone itself. Now look at this thing. This thing looks like it's something from the Coast Guard. It's pretty amazingly large and hefty looking, and I like the colors. This is the safety color for ocean. Coast Guard uses it. It's the most, one of the most, if not the most visible color in the water. So I'm glad they made it orange. I think their previous version was white, but now it's orange. So anyway, they have these little plastic motor protectors. I'm just going to take these off. initially out of the box. And the first thing I'm going to pull out is the drone itself. But look at this thing. So I'm just popping this thing up, and look how giant this thing is. So this is like a unibody construction where it's buoyant enough so where it lands in the water, this thing will float. It's very buoyant. Just kind of inspecting it real quick before we take the other stuff out of the box. Nice orange color. It actually has reflector tape, so if a light is shined on it, it's going to reflect very well on the arms here. Look at these motors. So these are giant SwellPro Splash Drone branded motors, and these are 590 kV, so very high torque motors. So these things are going to be insane. I've seen this one with the ability to actually go upside down in the water, and you can just go ahead and drive it like a submarine in the water if it flips over, and get back up and take off again from the surface of the water. So that's really amazing to me. This is completely sealed, waterproof. You don't have to worry about water getting in here. You've got the cover here that you have these thumb screws on with a silicone seal, which we'll go over in just a second, to completely seal the inside of the drone. It has kind of like a one-way diaphragm, I believe, just to make sure that the barometer can work for keeping its level. So that's the top of it there. Looks really cool. So this is the front here, and we can see that we also have the gimbal and the gimbal mount already pre-mounted on the bottom. Don't need to do anything with mounting this thing up. All we need to do is put our camera in, charge the batteries, make sure it's all working, and go fly. So turning it over to the bottom, here's the aluminum gimbal. Now this is a fully waterproof gimbal, 2-axis waterproof gimbal it says here. And look at the CNC precision on this thing. It's very well done. Now this is going to be kind of heavy. This is not a light quadcopter. So it's got these giant propellers to keep it in the air, and I think the flight time's probably going to be around 20 minute-ish, but we'll be definitely testing that when I do the flight test in the video to come very soon. So you can see how we've got this plug here. This is where we're plugging into the bottom of the craft. Completely waterproof plug. Here's the telemetry and the FPV and or receiver antennas. So these are also little antennas coming down, and these are also in little waterproof silicone plugs here, nubs. So we don't have to worry about any water damage on anything. Here's a landing gear. So these are kind of like a carbon fiber, I believe, either carbon fiber or fiberglass landing gear here. And this is kind of cool because you can see how they made them thinner, because this is made to land on the water, and when you're in the water you don't want to have all that resistance for current, and so these will slip through the water nice and easy, low profile, and it also helps it be a little lighter. We've got these little CNC machined aluminum leg mounts, so if you wanted to, you could take those off. If you say you just wanted to use the drop mechanism and not the whole camera assembly, I guess you could take the legs off if you wanted to. And on the bottom you can see that we have these stainless steels. Everything's stainless steel screws. Looks like it's nice and tight. This is where the gimbal mounts up. We've got rubber ball dampeners with safety drop hangers here. So this thing, even if these rubber ball dampeners pull out, the gimbal will not drop off the drone, especially if you're flying in some kind of current, landing in the water, crashing in the water. This thing is made to be able to take like drops, from probably anywhere from a ways up, like 50 feet down into the water, and survive and be able to relaunch. So pretty impressed, pretty amazed. Further looking at the gimbal, here's the pre-installed waterproof GoPro case. Now these guys also have a camera. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it's a Zero camera. It's kind of a one of those GoPro style copy cameras where it'll fit the same exact case as a GoPro, but they're selling one for cheaper. This package doesn't come with it. You can get that separate from their site if you wanted, but I just went ahead and got a GoPro on special because I do a lot of reviews and I needed like a GoPro for some of the crafts I'm reviewing. But anyway, there it is. Here's the case. You just open it up like a standard GoPro case. It opens up from the back. You pop your GoPro in there, and it already has a pre-installed FPV mini USB plug-in for your GoPro camera. So you don't have to do anything. All you do is sit your camera in there and then plug it in. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. while we have this thing opened up, might as well just go ahead and put it in. So first thing you want to do is just plug it in. You want to be careful not to pull this thing hard. It looks like it's pretty well shrink wrapped and glued, but you just want to be careful not really pulling on it too hard. So just pushing that in so it slides in nice and tight. And then we're just kind of pushing it in down in here, making sure the cables are, you know, routed correctly so we don't catch on anything. And push the whole camera down inside just like you would in a GoPro case, regular GoPro case. And that thing just sits in there nice and tight. Close the back up, put the back on, and then latch it so you hear that nice satisfying snap. And that thing is completely waterproof, so you submerge this thing underwater, no problem. You can see that the cable is fully integrated into the gimbal, so you have no cables sticking out. This is like a breathable waterproof mesh that's actually just, you know, finished on here, so the cable is going up into the waterproof gimbal controller up there, so you don't need to worry about water getting into this whole thing. Just spray it off when you're done. You can see that the brushless gimbal, the pitch and the roll motors are waterproof here, so very awesome. Just rinse those out if you go in the salt water, and you can see how level it's holding it already with the GoPro on it. So you see that with the gimbal not even on, it's like completely level. It's balanced for a GoPro, so it's all ready to go. Don't need to do any balancing or anything. Cool, let me set this on the side for a sec, and let's go ahead and take out all this other stuff real quick before we go ahead and get more in depth. I want to take off the top in just a second, show you guys inside. But let's see what else you get in the box here before I get too carried away on the drone itself. So, controller. So this thing reminds me of a Radio Link. I believe this is a Splash Drone rebranded and redone Radio Link type of controller. It's got this really nice soft touch orange finish here, kind of like the drone has. It's the same material. It's kind of like a soft touch paint. So we'll see how that holds up in this environment. I'm in Hawaii and it's pretty humid here, and we'll see how that all holds up in the long run. But anyway, a very simple, well, not entirely simple, but a really nice looking controller. Some of these switches aren't going to be working, but just looking at the controller, if you do buy those, their zero camera, you can control the pictures and the video directly from the controller, and that's what this is. So you can take photos and you can start and stop your video from this controller with their camera, but the GoPro apparently you have to start it before you launch. Anyway, different flight modes. So we got GPS, a circle mode, and then an altitude hold only mode. So just like a lot of other quads, you have those three modes. And then when you're flying, this also has a return to home. Since this is a GPS quadcopter, smart quad, you can be flying in normal mode, and then you just flip this down and it will come back and land right where it took off. And then if you have the drop mechanism, which we'll go over in just a sec, this will allow you to go ahead and release. So this switch here, you're holding the item and you switch it down and you can release it to do a remote drop. Apparently these switches aren't in use, and also these knobs are not in use. To pitch and roll the gimbal, you have these labeled buttons here. This is these sliders. This is the pitch control and the roll control for the gimbal. So going ahead and sliding this up and down will pitch the camera like this, and then this one going up and down will actually roll the camera. So I could see that for if you're underwater, that'd be pretty awesome. You pitch it down and you can actually roll it, and you can be looking at the wildlife, the marine life under the water with that camera. So definitely going to be testing all that out in these Hawaiian waters. So this will be really nice to see on camera. And of course you just got some mode buttons for navigating the menus, and this is a spring-loaded center sticks. So this has altitude hold. You let off and it will hold its altitude in the air, and then you've got your trim buttons. Really nice. I like how SwellPro, I like the colors they're using, and the fit and finish on their products is looking really high quality. I have to commend them on that. Looking at the battery compartment, just slide that, slide lock, no screws needed, awesome. And they're giving you a 7.4 volt 1800 milliamp hour 2S LiPo. with a JST connector, so you can charge that on one of the provided chargers they give you and go ahead and use that for your controller battery. So that's great, giving you a LiPo battery. It'll last very long and it keeps the controller nice and light. Okay, cool. So moving on to some other items. Let's go ahead and take all these boxes out, and then I'll set them all down here, and then we'll just open up everyone individually just to see what they are. So this label is AV and power cable for screen, FPV screen accessories. This one here is a USB cable quick release plate for the dive case, spare parts, and watertight screw. So you got some spare parts there. This here power adapter for monitor. I have actually opened all these up before, that's why this tape is broken, but when you get it, these are completely sealed, so kind of like what DJI does, they seal all their boxes and stuff. Anyway, this one is a mounting bracket for the monitor to go on the controller. This is the FPV monitor there, so we'll get to in just a second. This is the receiver for the ground station. Now this thing does telemetry to use in the waypoint flight, so we'll be going over that in just a second as well. Here's the payload release mechanism. This is for Europe balancing charger cable, so I probably won't be using that, but we'll open it just to show what it is. Here's a lanyard for the radio controller, so like a neck strap for the controller. Here's a USB balancing charger cable for the charger. Just gonna start pulling some things out. Here's some spare anti-drop gimbal things here, so there's 4 of them. That's awesome. They give you 4 extras. A nice quality screwdriver, 5mm screwdriver. So this would be a screwdriver that you can, work on this with. Looks like a pretty high quality one. On the back here, what do we have? This looks like an FPV monitor. So you can see this thing is a full-fledged diversity. Look at that. So this has 2 FPV receivers in it. It's just got monopole antennas they give you in the box, but of course you could always put on your own antennas. So that's pretty awesome. That's the FPV screen. We'll be taking a more in-depth look at that just a second. Don't forget over in the back here, all the propellers. So look at this. They give you 2 sets of carbon fiber. I think that's it in the back there. Look at that. So 2 sets, 1 whole extra set of carbon fiber. I believe these are 12-inch propellers. So giant carbon fiber propellers. We'll take a closer look at those in just a second. Moving on over here to the right, another battery. Now this thing comes with a battery pre-mounted in here, so you're getting 2 batteries, which is awesome as well. So you're getting a lot for your money. This uses 4S. This is a 4S 5200 25C LiPo with a XT60 connector on there. We're getting a lot of bang for our buck here. Keys, I have no idea what that's for. So we'll have to check out what those keys are for. Oh, maybe for the case. Well, I don't see a lock on this case. Is there a lock? Oh yeah. Yeah, there is. Okay, cool. I was wondering, I saw those in there before, and I was wondering what the heck are these keys for, but check it out. This is a lockable case, and they give you the keys, of course. Okay, awesome. I had no idea. That's a little bonus surprise for me. In the bottom here, a charger. So look at this charger. This is kind of let me go ahead and take off this protective wrapping here. This is a SwellPro branded lithium polymer charger, but check it out. This is high quality. This is aluminum case here. It's got a cooling fan. That's where you're going to plug in your power adapter, which was somewhere around here. I think it's in one of those boxes. But check this out. So 100 to 240 volt input, 50 to 60 hertz. Output is 50 watt or 4 amps. So this is a 4 amp charger, and it can do 2 to 4S. You can see that we have the balance here, 2, 3, or 4S, and it's a nice air-cooled little charger. It's got your battery level readout here from 25 to 100% with the dots. So a basic, but it looks like high-quality charger they're giving us in the package, and of course the charger instruction manual. There are a few other things. This looks like this is probably the battery caddy from the stock that came stock in the controller. So if you wanted to, that's great that they threw it in the box. Actually, you can go ahead and just pop 4 8 AA batteries and plug that in if you don't want to use that LiPo charger for some reason. You have the ability to use that. I'm just going to leave that in there. There's one more thing in the box, and this was a little bonus that they threw in for me because I'm reviewing this for them. This is the fishing kit. So check this out. You can't put the drop mechanism on this while you have this 2-axis gimbal on, but you can get this extra fishing kit, and what this is it's the drop mechanism plus a fixed waterproof FPV camera. You see how it just has one connection? That's kind of how these guys are doing this, is they're just making one waterproof connection in the bottom. So you see how that 3-axis gimbal is already using up that one connection. But what this does is it gives you a channel control, plus it's the FPV signal coming out. So if you wanted to go fishing, you mount this up, angle your camera at a predetermined height. If that was the one negative thing out of the box I could see on this thing, it would be that it would be awesome if you could pitch your camera and have this drop mechanism on there. I'm sure you could modify it somehow to do that, but the way they include it out of the box is, so if you wanted to, you know, just put your camera at, this is a wide angle camera, so you could put it at an angle where you could kind of see in front of you and also down. So when you get to your spot, go ahead and flip that switch on the controller and you can drop. This is a high quality waterproof mechanism here. Look at that. So this is all stainless steel hardware here, waterproof servo, and all anodized aluminum components as well. Waterproof camera, wide angle lens, looks really high quality. Then of course they give you the mounting hardware in this case. So cool stuff, guys. This is really awesome. I'm going to be putting this on in another video and doing my fishing review with this after I do the initial review for the basic functions and waterproof functions on the camera that's already mounted up. So that will be really cool. So stay tuned for that video. But it looks like that's all we get in the box. So I'm going to put this over on the side here by the Mavic Pro. I do have a review coming for the Mavic Pro Flymore kit, so don't miss that video. That'll be coming out. If it isn't already out, it'll be out after this video. But anyway, let's dig in a little more in depth to all this stuff. So let's just start unboxing some stuff. So US balancing charge cable. So unboxing this is just your basic cable that's going to plug into the charger. Payload release mechanism. So this one does come with, the auto version does come with this payload release mechanism where you have to take off the camera and gimbal, put this on for payload release, and then you can get this SAR device fisherman combo kit separate if you wanted to. I don't think that comes with the regular auto version, but it's the same type of deal. It's just a waterproof servo and a remote drop mechanism device, release mechanism here. All stainless steel again, anodized aluminum, and this just has a connection into the bottom where it gives you that one channel drop release. Lanyard for the radio controller. So this is going to be the lanyard that you can put around your neck if you wanted to, you know, connect this whole thing up. Sorry, this video is going to be kind of long, guys, so just to let you know, I just wanted to go in depth on all this stuff before we start flying this thing. SwellPro. It's got the SwellPro.com and also the SwellPro logo on a high quality lanyard, it looks like. Receiver ground station. So check this out. This is going to allow you to use the automated flight functions, which we'll be going over in just a second, on how to connect that to the app. But what this is, you put this antenna on, and this is cool because this is a Bluetooth wireless guy. This has a built-in battery. You can see that on the top. You can just charge it with like a USB micro charger, and charge this battery. It has built-in battery here, lithium battery. And what you do is you connect your cell phone directly to this, and this is receiving the data from the drone, and you don't have to plug any cables into your cell phone. This will go straight Bluetooth to your cell phone or your tablet. So you can have your cell phone or your tablet. You can mount this anywhere you want around you. And this is basically for the ground station software. So you can do those automated waypoint functions and all that kind of stuff. So really cool that they're including this as well. I'm really excited about this because I love doing, if you already know on my channel, I love doing automated waypoint flights. Next up, it's going to be the FPV screen accessories. So there we go. So it's just the cabling, the power cable, and an AV cable for the FPV screen. Speaking of the FPV screen, let's go ahead and just take this out and see what it's all about. So we have an instruction manual for it. And this is neat because this is diversity. So this has got two FPV receivers in it, RX1 and RX2. And what this thing does, of course, you can use different antennas. Usually on diversity, you may want to have like a monopole antenna like this. And then on the other side, some people put like patch antennas or cloverleaf antennas, just so you have a dual signal operation here. So whatever the strongest signal is, it's going to switch. You see how it has an RX1 and an RX2 light here? It's going to go ahead and switch to whatever antenna has the best signal. So that's pretty cool. So if you put two different kinds of antennas, it'll automatically do its switching. So opening up the screen here, look at that. So they give you a nice spring-loaded screen protector. And here's the screen protector plastic here. I'm just going to peel this off. Nice. So nice clear. It is very shiny screen, so I'm glad they gave us this sunshade because that is a very shiny screen. Glossy. Bunch of buttons here. You can change all your channels, do all kinds of stuff. This has an HDMI, looks like HDMI in port here on the left side. It's got a in for audio as well, it looks like. DIV, not sure what that is. RX1 and RX2 looks like maybe an output. So if you wanted to, you could output this to another peripheral. But anyway, there's our power to charge it up. This is a wireless deal or a cordless deal, so you just have to charge it up with this power port there. And let's go ahead and take off this battery. So check that out. So it's just a little lithium battery here. 2000 mAh 2S. Anyway, that's the FPV monitor, which we're going to be booting up very shortly. And here we go for the USB cable quick release stuff. This would be for the waterproof case, I guess, if you wanted to take this off. They also give you this to mount it on other stuff. A USB cable for charging your peripheral. They give you an extra little cap. Well, I guess this is the cap that you would put on the bottom here. If you didn't want to have anything on here, you unscrew this and you can put this cap on. So the cap makes it waterproof if you're not going to have anything connected. Extra gimbal damper balls and extra plugs. So they give you 2 extra gimbal dampers. They don't give you 4, but at least you get 2. And you also get some extra plugs. It looks like they're plugging in the bottom here. And I didn't go over that, but actually these plugs are just plugs, and there is a screw down in there. So I'm not sure what these are for. I think these are, they probably plugged this up just for more buoyancy, because it should be waterproof down in there anyway. Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot of boxes here. So this is a significant item. This is going to mount up our FPV screen to the controller over there. And here's what you get in here. So you're getting the bracket, you're getting a thumb screw, and then you're getting a clamp, a couple of clamps that will clamp onto the already indented aluminum. This looks steel, but it's actually aluminum. It's very light. It's just black, painted black. So that's how you're going to mount this thing up. You can see how these things will just go on like this and clamp on, and then we screw our monitor right on top. Bear with me a little bit longer. Here's a charger. So this looks like it's going to be a charger for the monitor here. So you see how this one plugs in there perfectly. So that's going to charge the monitor battery. Last box, but not least, is if you are in another country. There's a Euro adapter. Okay, so that's everything in the box. I just want to check out these propellers here real quick. This is awesome. So these things, you know, these are sharp. Very careful with this kind of stuff. I mean, if you're getting one of these drones, you should know the safety precautions and how to use one of these. Don't put these on if you're doing anything except you're ready to fly. Leave them off because these will cut you. And this is a high power device, you know. These are very high torque motors, so be very careful. And this is carbon fiber. This stuff is very light, very sharp, and very strong. And I can feel this here. These are sharp propellers. But look at the size of these things. These are giant. So these are like the kind of propellers you'd put on like a DJI Inspire size. These are 12-inch, very light. They look like about a 50 pitch. So the cool thing is, though, they give you a full set of spares. So even if you do nick 4 of them, you've got 4 extras to start you off with. So that's great. Okay, so let me go ahead and open the top here before we start mounting up the screen and getting into, you know, the Waypoint Flight app. So all you do with this one is you're unscrewing the top. These little thumb screws won't come all the way out, so that's great. You'll never lose them because they'll stay in the cover. The only thing you have to slightly be careful of is this silicone seal here. So you can see here while I push that up, here's the GPS and possibly the compass unit. It might be an all-in-one unit, so you want to be careful and keep that away from highly magnetic fields. Any drone in general, don't bring it around any, you know, super magnets or speakers or anything. So there you go. So here's the top cover. You got this really plush silicone seal that I know is going to keep out water. Here's this top edge here. This is the other battery I was talking about. So they give you a Velcro strap here to hold it in. And just be careful with this cable because that is plugged into the flight controller with GPS. So it will hang, but you do not want to tug on that by accident or you will break some things. So here's the battery, and the way these work is they're a little tight. So you have to kind of slide it over to one side. Just be very careful you're not knocking into other stuff while you do this internally, and pull that battery out. And if we look closely in here, here's what's going on. So this is the telemetry transmitter, and this is just velcroed to the inside there. And it looks like that one's going to be going all the way out into the arm here. So this is going to give us our telemetry to be able to use that ground station software on a tablet or a phone. So that's what that is. Over here, here's our 32-channel video transmitter. Looks like a very high quality one mounted on this side with some double-sided sticky tape. Very nice and tight. And this thing is routing all the way down to this antenna here on the bottom. So that's going to be your video transmission. And then what about our control antenna? Our control antenna for our RX, our receiver. And here is that one. So it's right here. It's just double-sided and Velcro taped, so you can remove it. And it's a SwellPro R9D branded receiver. It's probably something with the Radio Link company. And that one's going into the other antenna on the bottom here, which is this one here. So you've got FPV, receiver antenna, and then your telemetry antenna is just going into one of these arms. So they've got them pretty well separated. Looking inside of here, and I'm seeing the electronic speed controls for the motors. So they've got them in there, just mounted up in the arms, up on some double-sided sticky tape. We've got our power distribution board right here on the bottom with some padding for our battery. And here's the flight controller. So let me spin this around here real quick. And there we have it. So Splash Drone Flight Controller Auto Plus. It's an aluminum CNC casing on the flight controller. So it's all pre-done, pre-hooked up, pre-configured. There is a little micro USB port here, so it looks like you can configure some settings. And the ground station software is on their website. So I'll have the link to SwellPro where you can get this from. And they have their ground station software that you can download and adjust some settings if you wanted to on your computer. Anyway, that's about it for the inside. One more thing here is that FPV and gimbal hookup. Little guy here, you can see that it's very well sealed, waterproof. There's all the wires going in there. So a really well done industrial looking deal here. I'm really excited to test this out. Very happy thus far with the way it was built. It just looks like it's oozing quality and durability, so really anxious to test this out. Alright, so what we want to do is hook up this screen to the controller. So I'm going to close this screen real quick first, and might as well go ahead and take off this little protective coating. Looks like they put it on their logo, SwellPro. And so here's what we do. We get our package that has the monitor mounting bracket for the FPV monitor, and here's all the stuff we get. This is where we're going to need our screwdriver. Okay, so here's what we do. What I'm going to do is just bend this in a little bit so it's just easy to kind of make it sit on here. So it just kind of snaps on and holds itself on there until I'm done screwing all this stuff on. So all you do is put the back plate right here on the back, and then screw all these screws in to hold it in with the screwdriver they give you. Don't need to get any extra tools. They already thought about that, so that's pretty awesome. So just screw these 4 screws in. So those are all in there nice and tight. Then all you're doing, very simple, is putting your screen up top and using this thumb screw to screw this thing in. One end looks like it has an Allen wrench, so if you wanted to make that really tight, you could just stick an Allen wrench in there and tighten that. Doesn't look like you really need to. Then just putting on the thumb screw, going ahead and cranking that thing down as tight as you can. And there we go. So there's our FPV monitor. It's mounted up there nice and sturdy. So when we go like that, we do have our screen. It looks like there's really no way to tilt this at all, so you're kind of stuck with this one orientation, which isn't bad. I mean, you can just turn your wrists, and of course you're going to have your lanyard strap if you wanted to put on that lanyard strap right here and hold it up onto your neck, because this thing does get kind of heavy, you know what I mean, but there's your lanyard there, and you can put this over your neck so you have some support. Okay, so ready for power up. First thing we want to do is make sure that the controller battery is plugged in, and this one is just kind of a 2-prong deal coming out of the circuit board. Plus is on the top, so we want to make sure that the red is up top. Go ahead and plug that in and push it all the way down in there to the bottom. Close this controller up. Should just snap in there nice and tight. That's ready to go. Then we want to get our battery mounted in the craft. So we open our cap up and then just go ahead and mount our battery like so. So this is where you want to be careful. You just don't want to be like, you know, hitting any wires or electronics and pushing too hard, because you want to make sure you don't break anything, but you get this thing in there nice and tight and sturdy. So you put in, it looks like this side first, and just go ahead and push back a little bit until you get over that edge, and then push further and kind of straighten it out. Put on our Velcro strap here, and then just kind of crank this thing down. And go ahead and hide that tag back there, and we're ready to go. So we're ready to plug in. Controller on first, just powering up, and then we'll go ahead and turn on the quad. You can see the camera kind of initialize. Don't touch it. The roll's kind of tilted there, so we want to bring our roll straight for a sec. So you don't want to touch it until you hear that. You heard that little beep, so it kind of beeped immediately. So we should be good to go on closing everything up. And this thing has a little arrow, so nose is where the arrow is going. So we want to make sure we put this on the right way, or else our compass and everything is going to be off. And if we can, we want to push this power cable over here in the back as well. We don't really want this power cable to be, you know, right underneath GPS, so I'm just kind of pushing that in the back and then going ahead and closing this whole thing up, and just screwing all these thumb screws down in nice and tight. If you're going to go in the water, make really sure that these things are nice and snug. You'd hate to think you're forget to tighten them, go in the water, and then water gets in this thing, because I don't know what would happen. Anyway, there we go. So it looks like the camera is actually trying to charge because it's powered. And so what I'm going to do is turn on the GoPro, holding in this front button. GoPro turns on. So with this controller, it is picking up the telemetry. If you just press this N button, of course this controller goes into like a lock, but if you just push and hold this, you can unlock and then go ahead and go hit the N button, and you can see all of the telemetry from the drone here. So we can see that we can see our speed, our altitude speed, and we can also see how many GPS satellites we have. In this case there's 10. We can see our RSSI, throttle position here. See how that's going up and down in percentage. Right now it's at 47 centered. We're in GPS mode. So for example, if I click down, it says circle here. Click down again, it says ADDI. So we can see a lot of information here. We can also see our voltage. We can also see our yaw degree from what our compass is seeing. We can see our latitude and longitude, GPS coordinates. We can see what we're rolling, what the roll is, what the pitch is, pertaining to the accelerometer on the craft. We can see our altitude and our distance from us as well. So pretty awesome. A lot of information here. I didn't expect this to have telemetry on the radio. I thought it was going to be only on the Mission Planner app when we connected it, but it looks like you have both. So you can either fly it with your controller and just FPV and still have all those telemetry information, or connect to the Mission Planner and run that as well. I guess if you wanted to, you could somehow connect your phone up somewhere on here so you could have FPV and you can also run the Mission Planner perhaps. Maybe one of those little brackets that clamp on here, and then you could extend your phone out, possibly, if you wanted to run the Mission Planner and also have this screen up there. I'm going to turn on the FPV screen with that little switch on the bottom, and let's see what we got. Okay, we get a SwellPro logo with Pioneer of waterproof drone on the bottom, and let's see if it finds a signal. There we go. So we're already locked on to the signal. You can see there that we have our FPV. And here are the pitch and the roll for the video. I'm just pitching this up and down on the right one. You see how it's going all the way down there. So we got a full ground shot, and then all the way up, levels us out, and then we can go anywhere in between. Nice and easy control there. And then we have also our roll function, which is this left one here. So when I push this, you see the camera rolling slightly. There we go. So it's going to roll all the way, it looks like, until it hits the ground in that direction. So just be careful of doing this on the ground. You want to have it flat on the ground. And we can see that when I am doing it on the camera, you see the roll on the camera there. And it sounded like it gave us a little bit of a indication it was centered when I went to the center for a second. See if we can get that. There we go. So you hear that little beep? That meant it's centered. So now we're back into center. It's telling us what channel we're on, channel B8. Not sure if you guys can see this. Diversity module is active, and we have full signal there. So that's what we got there. And then this thing has like a menu, so you can, let me just cycle through this menu real quick. You can see how we have different OSD languages, volume, because this has a speaker in it. We have some picture color, temperature, aspect ratio, and all that stuff. Let me just go ahead and try to start recording on the GoPro just for a sec, and so you can see what's happening up there. So you see how we lost some OSD on the GoPro down there, but now it's showing a red camera recording icon, and it's ticking down our minutes. Okay guys, so as far as the mission planning software, this uses like a modified version of Mission Planner for our waypoint functions. I'm going to go through that real quick. Then you just hold in the power here to turn this thing on. You're going to see this light start to flash. And the way you connect it to your tablet first, before you power anything on yet. It seems to connect like this the best. So you go into your USB, or your Bluetooth actually, sorry, make sure your Bluetooth is on. You need to do this right when you turn it on. This thing kind of goes into pairing mode, and I was able to connect to UAV1 right when I turned it on. I went ahead and tried to connect. If you wait too long, it goes out of pairing mode and I couldn't get it to connect, so you just want to do that initially. So I'm connected to UAV1. You make sure you're connected, and then you go ahead and turn on all your other stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the controller first. Then I'm going to turn on the splash drone. Let it do its little chime. Okay, so we should be ready to start up the app. So you just need to download the SwellPro app from the App Store. And you get this little splash screen here. Okay, and there we go. So it starts off in like Google Maps background. You can see that this is a variation of Mission Planner software, kind of a 3DR open source mission planner that they just tweaked with their own UI. So it looks pretty good. And what we need to do now is go ahead and just press connect. So it says disconnected up here in the top right. We want to press that, make sure we're on Bluetooth, connect, and make sure we connect to the one we paired with, which is UAV1. So now it's saying connected, and there we go. Okay, awesome. So you saw that little green airplane pop in, and it kind of centered on it. That means that's where our drone is. We can see we have some values on our pitch, roll. Our bearing there is 223. We got ground speed, climb rate, altitude, satellite count is 9. Distance from us is 0 because it's right here. GPS coordinates up there. We got our battery power up there, and we can go ahead and we can zoom into the craft and our location, and we can go ahead and just move around and change some things. We can close that side panel if we wanted to, if we didn't want to see that. And if you'll notice here up on the bottom, we've got a few options. So from the actual tablet, if you wanted to, you could initiate a return to home, you could take off, you could do a landing, you could, or descend. I'm not sure if that's a landing, or you go higher. You could just tell it to hover right there. You go into the mode button, and this is where you can initiate follow me. Guided is where you just press a location on the map and it will fly there if it's already in flight. So you don't even have to control the sticks. So you could actually fly this thing completely separate than the controller if you wanted to. And then this is waypoint launch, the WP launch there on the bottom. And what that is right now we're in the flight status menu. You go into this waypoint blue little icon there, and this is where you can go ahead and start making your waypoints. So you see how I'm just clicking on a location. So that's waypoint 1, waypoint 2, waypoint 3, very similar to other crafts that have this waypoint function. And then what's happening is it's giving us kind of a timeline on the bottom, and here's where you can click on one of them and you can adjust with the slider the altitude you want from each waypoint. And then you can have a delay. Say you want it to sit there and take some video or photo while it's just sitting there. You can go ahead and delay it for, say, for example, 13 seconds before it continues on. Just click save to the next waypoint, and then it's telling you the height down here that you set. So pretty cool. What'll happen is once you save that, you go ahead and you hit send. And what that did is it sent it to the flight controller in the craft. You just want to make sure you hit send before you start. And then what you could do is if you wanted to do a fully automated flight, you hit that auto, and then you just click waypoint launch. So you want to make sure your props are on, you're in an open area, and you double check your whole flight, make sure it's not going to crash into anything. Check your elevations and all that stuff, of course, and then you can do a waypoint launch. It'll launch the craft, it'll fly its waypoint mission, and then it will land automatically. Of course, you should be able to take over control at any time within its waypoint if you turn the controller on if you wanted to. It's a little limited. The standard version allows you to adjust parameters in the app, and it allows you to do some other functions like read out the voice to you if you wanted to, like, say, read out your ground speed every 10 seconds. The original version of Mission Planner can do that, but I don't see those options in here. What I just went over looks like ultimately all you can do here. so it's kind of a trimmed down version of that. But it seems like it still works rather well. They're keeping it simple. Anyway guys, I hope you liked that initial unbox, inspection, and setup. I hope it really went through everything. If you're looking into getting something like this, what it takes to set this thing up, and what it all looks like in depth, and how it's all going to work. Of course, I didn't have time on this one to do the flight test, but when that's ready, I'll have the link in the description. I'm going to take this to the park, possibly do like maybe a beach flight test with this one initially, get it in the water too, or I may split those videos up, just do one at the park, one in the water, so you can really see more in depth on each scenario how it works. I'll put that drop mechanism on, and we'll do some fishing and all that kind of stuff. So stay tuned if you want to see those videos and really how this thing performs. I really try to be very in-depth in my videos. So don't forget, I'll have the links to this down in the description. Go ahead and click on SwellPro's website. Check out the price on this and a little bit more in-depth specs. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. It just started coming down. I'm at my house, and I just wanted to do a quick little preview of the splash drone before I do the review. Since it's raining, might as well get out here and fly it in the rain. Both sticks down to the middle. There goes the propeller. So we're in the rain, and let's try to lift off. There we go. So flying in the rain here. Go over here so I don't bug the neighbors. Kind of adjust this roll a little bit on the camera so it's level. There we go. If I can, I'll go ahead and have this video up on the screen just so you guys can see. You can see that you are going to get some raindrops on the camera. You can see that the camera's already got raindrops on it. But this is just a test to see how this thing flies in the rain. And it's coming down pretty good now. I don't know if you can see those raindrops, but it's definitely dripping off the quad. Let's get a little closer so you can see. Now this thing's dangerous, right? This got huge carbon fiber blades, high torque motors. You don't want to get too close to yourself. You could really hurt yourself, cut your face up. But I just want to show you like how much water's on it in the rain. Seems like it's doing pretty darn good. Didn't have a chance to fully charge the battery, but I did do one little test flight in my yard on one of the other batteries. But let me just go ahead and tilt the camera down and do a punch out. Check that out. So there's my house. Go ahead and come down. You can see how everything's wet. Full throttle down and letting off. There we go. Come in a little closer. Still raining pretty good. You can see the wet pavement here. Pitch up. Cool, so pretty stable. I mean, I've got hands off and I'm right under the eave of my house. 16 satellites. It seems to have a very good GPS antenna. So no complaints there. Let me go ahead and land it. The rain's kind of lightening up. Just slowly pulling down and holding the throttle down. Goes ahead and shuts off the propellers. So that was cool. Just wanted to do a little preview before I do the full-on review in the park, just to show you guys that this thing can fly in the rain no problem. Pretty awesome.